The saculina is a species of parasitic barnacle that infects crabs. They plod along the surface of the crab's body until they find a soft spot in between the crab's plating, after which they molt out of their shell and inject themselves into the crab's body. From there it grows like a weed, spreading throughout the crab's organs, nervous system, and even its eye stalks. It even grows a sac on the crab's underside, where the crab's genitals would be, but are now the reproductive parts of the parasite. The crab stops molting, growing, and becomes sterilized. The crab eventually loses its free will, its only purpose now being to continue the life cycle of this parasite. It becomes an empty husk, a marionette for its new master. Fortunately, no cases have ever been reported in a human being. Out of the several mind-controlling parasites out there, none have been known to affect humans. But could the minds of humans be affected through other means? We tend to think of mind control as a distant, hazy phenomenon, confined to sci-fi books and movies. But just how close are those books and movies to reality? Mankind's transition into the digital age was a process beginning in the 1980s, which has long since been completed. 91% of the money in the global economy is now digital, and the average citizen of a developed nation is now using a screen for almost 7 hours a day. Electronic devices and the internet have become integral parts of modern society, with said society now dependent on these technologies to keep many of its essential institutions running. This makes the prospect of digitally conducted crimes against society more terrifying with every passing year. Identity theft, cyber attacks against entire nations capable of disabling electricity, digital banking, and internet service. But what if I told you that it was possible for nefarious entities to take control of not only your finances and your personal information, but also your mental autonomy? Physiological effects have been observed in a human subject in response to stimulation of the skin with weak electromagnetic fields that are pulsed with certain frequencies near half a hertz or 2.4 hertz, such as to exercise a sensory resonance. Many computer monitors and TV tubes, when displaying pulsed images, emit pulsed electromagnetic fields of sufficient amplitudes to cause such excitation. It is therefore possible to manipulate the nervous system of a subject by pulsing images displayed on a nearby computer monitor or TV set. For the latter, the image pulsing may be embedded in the program material, or it may be overlaid by modulating a video stream, either as an RF signal or as a video signal. The image displayed on the computer monitor may be pulsed effectively by a simple computer program. For certain monitors, pulsed electromagnetic fields capable of exciting sensory resonances in the nearby subjects may be generated, even as the displayed images are pulsed with subliminal intensity. Such is the abstract of the mysterious patent US 6506-148B2. This is a patent filed in 2001 and published in 2003. By one Hendrikus J. Luce, although Luce has been determined to be a fictitious person as no one has been able to find any information on him. To this day, no one knows who is truly behind this invention and the pseudonym to which it is accredited. This invention relates to the stimulation of the human nervous system by an electromagnetic field applied externally to the body. The job of your nervous system is to carry messages throughout the body and control your senses. Now your brain is the largest and most complex part of your nervous system, the captain of the ship, so to speak. And we all know that the brain is a bioelectrical organ. All our thoughts, sensations, and actions stem from bioelectricity generated by neurons and transmitted through complex neural circuits inside our heads. Think of how you're not allowed to use cell phones in some areas of a hospital or in an airplane. This is so that the electromagnetics of the phone do not interfere with the sensitive electrical devices found in these places. So if the brain is a bioelectrical organ, it is technically possible to stimulate and perhaps rewire the brain using electromagnetic pulses displayed by the images on the monitor. Should we be concerned? Is it possible that your will is not always your own, and you are being puppeteered through your screens and digital devices? Before we can answer that question, we first need to define the term mind control. If we're speaking technically, it's fully possible to control and influence certain processes that go on inside the human brain. Transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS, is a procedure that uses magnetic fields to stimulate nerve cells in the brain to improve symptoms of depression. TMS is typically used when other depression treatments haven't been effective. During a session, an electromagnetic coil is placed against your scalp near your forehead. The electromagnet painlessly delivers a magnetic pulse that stimulates nerve cells in the region of your brain involved in mood control and depression. It's thought to activate regions of the brain that have decreased activity in those suffering from depression. Though the biology behind why TMS works isn't completely understood, the stimulation appears to impact how the brain is working, which in turn seems to ease depression symptoms and improve mood. Although computer or touchscreen device is way less powerful than TMS, the question still remains. Could the electrical signals coming from these devices affect certain brainwaves operating in resonance with cell phone transmission frequencies? After all, the user's cerebral cortex is less than a meter away from the radiation broadcast from the phone's antenna. This is what a study on the topic, not included in the patent, has to say. Rod Crofney from the Swinburne University of Technology in Melbourne, Australia, set out to discover whether or not a cell phone transmission could alter a person's brainwaves. The researchers monitored the brainwaves of 120 healthy men and women while a cell phone was strapped to each of their heads. The phone transmissions were being controlled by a computer, and the experiment was carried out in double-blind fashion, which means neither the participants nor the researchers knew whether the phones were transmitting or idle at any given moment. The data showed that when the phone was in transmission mode, the alpha brainwaves of the subjects received a significant boost in strength, particularly the ones emanating from regions of the brain directly under the cell phone. Your brain produces alpha brainwaves when you're not focusing too hard on anything in particular. Whatever you're doing, you're probably feeling relatively calm and relaxed. These waves measure between 8 to 12 Hz, and in fact, increasing their intensity is associated with a number of benefits, including lowering stress, reducing anxiety, decreasing depression, and improving creative thinking. Doesn't sound very nefarious, does it? Although research has shown that cell phone transmissions can affect a person's brainwaves with persistent effects on behavior, it doesn't explicitly say anywhere in the patent that we've discussed that electromagnetism can recreate what we tend to think of as mind control. That is, robbing a person of their free will and playing them like a puppet. But does that mean we should rule out this possibility as a conspiracy theory? Well, it's not easy to tell, but we can't ignore the concerns raised in regards to electromagnetic fields, which were serious enough to cause 190 scientists from 39 different countries in May of 2015 to submit an appeal to the United Nations requesting the World Health Organization adopt more electromagnetic field exposure protective guidelines. Such concerns are an indication that the patent should not be ignored or underestimated. It also goes to show you that apart from your electronic device recording, monitoring, and watching everything you are doing, they can also influence living organisms' feelings, perceptions, thoughts, and behavior. So maybe it's a smart idea to switch off that screen whenever you can, and go in nature or spend face-to-face time with other people instead.